decide this war against humanity. Oh, cannabis, the drug war's a bust. Oh, cannabis, we stand here high for thee. Oh, cannabis, the sacred plant of peace. Thanks all you guys for being here. This is the third annual trip through for the Freedom Tour. We're here in Calgary on our way to Ottawa for Remembrance Day on a 5-month-long trip across Canada, talking about what rights and freedoms we should have here, what the definition of freedom is, the dangers and the costs of drug prohibition, and the value of health. We deserve to be free as human beings here. In Canada, our forefathers went to war to fight for our freedoms. In Canada, the definition of freedom is the right to do or not do whatever you would like to do or don't want to do, without any government interference, prohibition, or coercion, unless you interfere unreasonably with someone else. Our public servants, paid for by us, are there to protect those rights and that freedom that we're supposed to enjoy here. Instead, they've been co-opted over years and decades of successful lobbying by corporate interests, to the point where our public servants are now private servants of the corporations. They are no longer protecting our rights and our freedoms. They are serving the interests of their corporate friends and trying to enslave us into be consumers and producers for them. The drug prohibition is exactly that. It is a protection racket for corporate drugs. And in the case of cannabis, which is the main focus of drug prohibition, it's a lot more than that. The prohibition of cannabis is the prohibition of hemp. And hemp is the best source of textiles on the planet. It's the best source of nutrition on the planet. It is the best source of fuel on the planet. 10 times more efficient than corn. It grows in marginalized soil. It doesn't need pesticides or fertilizers. Very little water. It's just turning photons into biomass that we can take back and use for all manner of things. It is the prohibition of cannabis that keeps our farmers from being rich in Canada. In Canada, the farming industry generated $1 trillion in profits last year, and our farmers made none of it. Our farmers went farther into debt. They went into debt to Monsanto and other big corporate interests that have enslaved our farmers into producing for them and consuming their products for their production of our food. We need to stop this abuse of power by our politicians. Freedom Tour is here to address those issues. We want you to get involved. You can find us at freedomtour.ca. We need involvement at all levels. I'm here representing a group of police officers called LEAP, Law Enforcement Against Prohibition. Over 10,000 law enforcement career professionals have gotten together to talk about the harms being caused by prohibition in our society. The prohibition of drugs causes gangs. It's not the drugs that cause the gangs, it's the prohibition that caused the gangs. Our young people are being enticed and lured into a life of crime because our governments refuse to regulate these substances in ways that make sense. Adults deserve the right to make their own choices. If there's consequences with the use of certain substances,